Well, very good morning, everyone. My name is Francisco Gonzalez and Gonzalez-Longatt, and I am here to share some of my experience regarding the Excellent Power Factory. I think you already visited Canvas website and you saw some of my posts over there and some videos. And well, before I start, I would like to do something very basic here. I prepare a couple presentations and practical examples, but before I start, let me introduce a bit myself, okay? And probably you are wondering. Let me share my screen. Share my screen, this screen. Well, probably you are wondering who is this gentleman here, okay? My name, as I say before, is Francisco Gonzalez-Longatt. I have been an academic for more than 20 years, more than the time that I would like to remember. And I has been involved in electrical power system for my entire life. I got bachelor in electrical engineering. Well, to be honest, it's not electrical engineering, it's power engineering. Then I got a master in business administration. Then I did my PhD, and my PhD was related with dynamics processes in electrical power system with the integration of novel technologies. And from there, my career has been moving between different countries around the world. And in the previous 3 years, I was in Norway, specifically at the University of Southeastern Norway. I spent time starting in, I think it was 2019 until early this year, 2022. I was a full professor in electrical power engineering at the Department of Electrical Engineering, IT, and Cybernetics. And I got the pleasure that during my time over there, I created and I established what I call DHENSYS Lab. And DHENSYS Lab is basically the short name for Digital Energy System Laboratory. That is basically a space, an environment to research in electrical system, of course, but some other kind of system like cyber physical systems. And the core of that lab, it is basically real-time simulation and hardware in the loop. However, as I said before, I left Norway a few months ago, and I right now belong to the Center for Smart Grid here in Britain at the University of at the University of Exeter. The University of Exeter is located at the southwest of the United Kingdom. It's a pleasure being here at the University of Exeter. It's one top 100 university around the world and is ranked probably 20, 29, depending on the table in Europe. And here in the UK is probably 5 or 6. Well, this is just a short introduction about myself, okay? But today we are preparing to do a bit more. And let me start my presentation, my formal presentation, because this was just a short introduction about myself, okay? Today, I am running what I call conversations about Power Factory. And probably you are asking yourself why this is called conversations about Power Factory. Because a formal training, a formal course about the Excellent Power Factory will take so long that I cannot cover that in this class, okay? To be honest, the Excellent Power Factory, you will see in a few minutes during the presentation, but the Excellent Power Factory is one of the most powerful power system analysis softwares around the world. It's basically dedicated for electrical power systems. However, in recent time, Power Factory have enhanced the functionalities, allowing the integration of models coming from another modeling software, but also co-simulation. And that opened the door for doing research and also consultancy in many other energy sectors, including transportation, hydrogen, and so on, okay? However, again, this is conversations about Power Factory, high-level conversation about Power Factory, and then we will discuss some of the most important features, okay? And from there, we will go to a practical session, and finally, we will close this conversation for today. Before I start, I would like to remind you that all the opinions and all the ideas presented in this video and this class belong to me, and I am the only person responsible for that. Neither the university or any commercial company has responsibility about that. This presentation will be available for you. If you want to download the slides, this presentation will be available in several of my repositories. One of my favorite repositories for this kind of conversations of Power Factory is located basically at my GitHub, okay? Here you can see the link, sorry, to my ResearchGate. Here you can go to my ResearchGate and you will find a lot of material, a lot of previous presentations, conversations about Power Factory I run around the world, and there are several slides available at ResearchGate. For that reason, if you want further information, you can go there, okay? Also, some of my practical examples, they are located in the GitHub repository. If you want, you can go to the GitHub repository and you can download some of the practical exercises. Practical exercises related to the Excellent Power Factory, but also many other things like short circuit analysis, dynamic processes, and so on. Also, I am recording this video, and after editing, I will upload this video available for everyone at my YouTube channel. Later, I will tell you more about resources that you can find for the Excellent Power Factory, but I think one of the central areas that you can find information is inside my YouTube channel. There are several videos, starting from very basic videos until very complicated, and also there are some of them in different languages, okay? However, you can use the caption in YouTube, okay? Also, I'm very active in social media, especially updating people about what we are doing in the lab, what we are doing in research and development and innovation. For that reason, I highly suggest, if you want to keep track about what I am doing, you can follow me on LinkedIn and also on Twitter, okay? Well, let me go to the next slide here. And, well, let's start the formal introduction of conversation about the Excellent Power Factory. And the plan here is starting with a short introduction and explain the reason that I am here. Then I will go about the Excellent Power Factory, some short history about the historic evolution of the Excellent Power Factory. Then I will tell you about the concept of modeling and simulation inside the software. And finally, I will discuss some of the functionalities. In Power Factory, we call the functionalities power system analysis functions. I will give you a very high overview of those functionalities and the functionalities that you need to use in this course, okay? And after that, we will have a practical exercise using the software, and of course, more explanation related to the software. And let me start why I am here. Okay, there are several reasons that I am here. I believe it's a pleasure for me explain everyone and sharing my time with all of you, explaining about the Excellent Power Factory. During my PhD, I took 7 years for developing my own power system analysis software. I mean, my PhD was shorter, but I spent 7 years of my life developing power system analysis software by myself. Then I convinced myself that we need to use a more competitive, commercial, and well-known and tested software. And for that reason, when I moved to the UK, probably around 15 or 18 years ago, I started to use fully the Excellent Power Factory. Before that, I was using the Excellent Power Factory for consultancy and some projects, but officially I would say that I have more than 20 years using the software. And during that time, I have the several opportunities. One of them, I was the person responsible for the first translation into the Spanish language of the Excellent User Manual, and that was around 2001. And also, I have the opportunity of supervising projects related with the Excellent Power Factory in many countries, including Germany, France, the United Kingdom, India, Cyprus, Colombia, blah, 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 blah. And also, during my time, I have been teaching other people, other power engineers, how to use the Excellent Power Factory. I have been around the world teaching about the software. In some places has been in the academia, like in Africa, in Zimbabwe, but also at the industry. I have delivered several industrial trainings around the world. You can see over there several of the photos. And the main reason is that during my career, I dedicate my time to write several books. You will be using one of them, I think the one that we wrote in 2015, Power Factory Application for Power System Analysis. That was the first book. It was presented in 2015, and it was the first book related with the software. In 2017, we published another book. It was even higher level, and that is Advanced Smart Grid Functionalities based on Power Factory. In 2021, we published one more book to focus in the main challenges that we have right now regarding integration of renewables. And in 2021, we published the book Modeling Simulation of Power Electronic Converters, Dominated Power System using the Excellent Power Factory. Also in 2020, I published another book related with programming using DPL. DPL is the short name for the Excellent Programming Language. However, that book was in Spanish, was something to close some circles inside my life, okay? With those 4 books that you can see over there are 2 more books coming very soon, probably one of them early next year, early 2022. 2023. We are presenting a new book about multi-energy systems and interfacing the Excellent Power Factory with other third-party software, okay? And also I have the pleasure, to be honest, I have the very good pleasure of having many good friends working in the Excellent Power Factory. Starting from the boss, Martin Schmieck, that he is the father of the Excellent Power Factory, going for several places around the world. Here in this photo, I have the pleasure when I was in Ukraine, having time with the people of the Excellent over there, and we have a very famous chapter number 7 in the first book that is used around the world. And most recently, I would like to invite you on 25th of October 2022. I will have the privilege, I will have the honor and also humble to be part of the Digital Protection User Group meeting in Dixieland. It's a global event organized by the people of Dixieland Power Factory. On 25th of October at noon, I will be talking about protection of 6-phase transmission feeder, the challenges and solution. This is an event that is for free. If you are interested on power system protections, I think you need to be present in this event. Okay, again, it's a completely free event, and you can follow the link that is located at the below of the slide, and you will have the opportunity of sharing knowledge with people from Dixieland, of course, Nikolai Wilson and all the team from Dixieland, but also many other colleagues around the world. Okay, now, Power Factory, Dixieland, that is the classical question, okay? Let me tell you the following. There are many people that they have a confusion. Dixieland is the company, and Dixieland GmbH is a company that develop the software and sell the software and provide maintenance for the software. However, there is a quite tricky situation, because Martin Schmiek, as you can see over there, in 1985, he created Dixieland, and that software received the name Dixieland because Dixieland is the short name of Dixieland Simulation and Electrical Networks. That is basically the name, Digital Simulation and Electrical Networks. In 1985, Martin Schmiek created the software, and the first client of the software, it was in 1987. And it's a German company basically dedicated for local distribution systems, and they are still using the software, okay? If you want to read more about the history and evolution of the software, I highly suggest that you go to the first chapter and the introduction of this book that is coming from us, okay? Well, as I say before, Dixieland Power Factory started in 1985. From there, the software started to evolve. To be honest, I never used the version 7, but starting from version, I think it was 10, I started to use the software. And you can see over there the very old CD, probably no more of you use CD. And also they use for security a very interesting hardware that is called the hard lock. The hard lock is basically a hardware that is installed in the printer port. At that time was a RS-232, and that hard lock was creating the security for the software. Of course, over the time, the software evolved in several versions, 13.2, 14, 15, and so on. And that is the moment that Power Factory, Dixieland Power Factory, start to use what we call the USB dongle. The USB, all of you probably know, USB is one of the protocols used for terminal communications in your computer. And at that moment, in version 15, they start to use the USB dongle. And from the USB dongle, version 2017, 2018, 2022, we start to use what we call soft key. What you are using right now at the university is a novel version of Dixieland Power Factory 2022. And the version that you are using is using soft key. What does mean a soft key? A soft key means that you have a piece of software installed in your computer, and that piece of software is dedicated to create the security for the software and also for the user. And that piece of software, of course, has a high-level encryption that also allows the communication over internet to the company and sharing information and making sure that you are a right and legal user of the software. For that reason, that soft key was a very interesting step forward for the security of the software. And the very interesting thing about the soft key is that soft key is married with the hardware that is installed in your computer. I mean, that soft key, that small piece of software is checking your hardware, your motherboard, your CPU, your hard drive, and making sure that the configuration is not changing over the time. For that reason, if you buy a new computer and you need to install the software, you need to be sure about configurations and also how to migrate or move the license between computers. However, that is a topic that is beyond this class, okay? What is interesting is that Dixilen is still the company. Dixilen is still the company. And it's a company not only creating Power Factory. Power Factory is the new name that we use for the software. I will tell you more about the history in a few minutes. But Power Factory is one of the software developed by Dixilen in Germany, in Gonzalez-Longatt. There are many other software. One of them is Stationware. That is basically a software that allows the communication between the formal monitoring and control system of the power system and the software, okay? I will not cover here Stationware, but it's something that probably you need to look around if you are interested in a SCADA system, data acquisition in real time, and so on. Most recently, Power Factory developed what they call the Power Factory Monitor. And as you can see, let me highlight here, this is a piece of hardware that is called the Power Factor Monitor. And the Power Factor Monitor is basically a software that allows data capture coming from real signals inside the system, okay? However, as I said before, Dixilen is the company, and the company is huge. We have also consultancy and research, okay? Dixilen is one of the only few companies that they develop software, but at the same time, they create research. They collaborate with universities, research institutions, and they move forward, creating test systems, new class of studies, but also trainings and seminars, okay? If you want to get more information, you can go to the Dixilen website and you can get more, okay? Dixilen is covering almost all the world. You can see here a map. There are more than 5,000 licenses. To be honest, that number should be a bit higher at the moment. Dixilen Power Factory has been dominant in Europe, continental Europe, and also in South America. However, the market opened to Russia, China, and Australia, okay? Today, the company has 9 official offices around the world, including Germany, including France, and so on, but also many, let's say, partners or representatives around the world. And on the other hand, well, let me explain the typical confusion between Dixilen and Power Factory. What is the difference between them, okay? Well, today, 2022, year 2022, Power Factory is the program, okay? Power Factory is the program. And the program, it was created by Dixilen. Dixilen is the company in Germany, okay? However, I don't know if you noticed, but I use Dixilen Power Factory. I use the name Dixieland Power Factory. In a minute, I will tell you, but I do for respect to the original idea, the original name of the software, digital simulation, and electrical network calculation program, okay? Well, the software is designed to be a computer-aided engineering. In other words, it's basically a software that allows you make your life easy for power system analysis. And one of the very important features of this software is that it has a very integrated and interactive environment. And that makes your life easy, okay? Probably today, 2022, year 2022, you are not surprised about interfaces and interactions because the most recent developments in software are making possible that every single software have that. But many years ago, Dixieland Power Factory was the first software with a graphical interface for power system analysis. To be honest, the original software, the version 7, was the first power system analysis software, including an integrated graphical single line diagram interface. To be honest, at that moment was huge. Probably you are so young for remember this, but before version 7, every single power system analysis software was used command lines. And to be honest, that was a very, very difficult time for us, especially if you were working in a utility, a power utility with a very large and real network. Today, well, Dixieland has changed around. To be honest, between version 13.2 and the version 14, a drastic change happened. To be honest, the drastic change that happened was that Power Factory version 14 is the first moment that the database and the paradigm in the software change. And the database change allowing you integration of functionalities. What I'm trying to tell you is that in a single environment, in a single database, you have now the possibility of doing many things. Power flow, short circuit, protections, and so on. And at that very specific moment, that was huge, okay? Well, the Power Factory remake or refurnish or let's say reborn of the software is basically defined with three very specific aspects. Functional integration, database integration, and vertical integration, okay? In this case, functional integration, database integration, and vertical integration means that now what you can do is having in a single software a huge set of tools that you can use at the same time. Functional integration means that inside a single environment, now you have the possibility of running many different power system analysis. Probably for you is not a big deal. But many years ago, if you want to run a load flow, you need to run a program. Then if you want to do a fault analysis, you need to run another program. And if you need to calculate the harmonic distortion or run a transient stability, you need to use another software. At that moment, that was a lot of work because you need a database for power flow, a database for fault analysis, a database for harmonics. And with that, you took so much time and also increased the possibility of mistakes and errors. However, the second very important functionality is what we call vertical integration. And vertical integration is very important for all my students here today, because vertical integration is the data paradigm inside Power Factory. Inside Power Factory, everything is an object. Let me explain the following. Dixieland Power Factory was created in an object-oriented programming style. I mean, when Dixieland Power Factory was created, they used C and then C++. Everything is object-oriented programming. And object-oriented programming means that everything inside is an object. And every single object inside the software has several features. For instance, regarding this class and regarding your understanding of this, what you need to understand is that if we are working with electrical data, for instance, a generator is an electrical device, or a transmission line, any electrical object has two different objects to define the data. One object will be in green color, and that is the element. I will tell you again, when we are working with electrical devices, those electrical objects has two objects to define the data. One object that is called the element data, and that is in green color. And you will see that the name is easily identified because you can see the letters ELM in the object description. And the second piece of data inside the software is called the type data. And you can identify the type data because you will see the letters T, Y, M. That means if we are working with elements, you will see the green color in the object. And if you are working with types, you will see the type TYP, and you will see this strange red color, okay? However, in a practical session, you will realize more, but pay attention. Everything inside Power Factory is basically an object. Electrical objects, they have a data structure, and that data structure has two main components. One of the main components is the element data, and the second component is the type data, okay? And then we have the vertical integration. The vertical integration is not only coming from the data, it's also inside the database. And the database is allowing you to run different calculations. I mean, the same database that is used for load flow is used for short circuit or for RMS simulation or for protections or harmonics. What I'm telling you is that the vertical integration means that also the power system analysis functionalities or the power system calculations, they are integrated, okay? And here is the clever part. The clever part is that inside Power Factory, the database is very, very nice and well organized. I must be honest with all of you. Dixieland Power Factory is a software for serious people. Dixieland Power Factory is a software that initially was created in mind with the idea of very large power system with many, probably thousands or millions of components. For that reason, the database integration was a very clever way to control how the database is accessed, how the database is changed, and so on. Something that you must understand is that there is something very, very powerful, and that is the project manager. The project manager is one of the functionalities inside Power Factory that allows you project management. That means that you can access projects. When I say project, you can imagine the project like a big folder in your computer. And inside that, you can have several subfolders. You can have several subfolders, and inside those subfolders, you can have more subfolders. What I'm trying to tell you is that project is the name that we use for any power system model inside the software, inside the Xylem Power Factory. But at the same time, you can have inside the project several subfolders: the library, the network model, the static cases, the settings, and so on, okay? However, we will see a bit more of this in a practical section, okay? Let me move forward. Here you can see the general overview of the database structure, okay? You will not be working with the whole database. However, what is important for you is that you realize that the project is the name for the power system that you are creating the model. Here at the library, we have the local library, and inside the local library, you can have what we call the types. Here in the network model, you will have the elements. Here in the static cases, you will have the power system studies. And here in settings, don't put your hand over there, okay? That is the simple way. I mean, for beginners, for rookie users of the software, please don't put your hand over there, okay? Okay, now what I will do is I will give you a short overview about the different power system analysis that you can run using the software, okay? Because until now, what I was speaking, what I was telling you, it was basically data structure and how to put data and how to recover data from there, okay? Perfectly, okay? Okay. Okay, let me move forward. Well, in this section, I will show you a general overview of power system analysis functionalities inside the software, okay? To be honest, this is a very basic overview, okay? This is a very basic overview. If I remember this functionality, this list of functionalities, they are basically related to the version 2020, okay? I don't believe I update this slide, but what you can see over here is two different groups, what they call basic functions and what they call advanced features, okay? Well, basic functions, as the name says, is basically the core of functionalities that you can find inside the software. One of the most basic analysis is the command load flow. The command load flow is one of the functionalities that you will be using in this course. This is the command load flow, but there are many commands. Command short circuit, command load flow sensitivities, and so on, okay? I don't know if you realize, but every single power system analysis functionality is an object. And that object uses COM, for instance, LDF. What is this? This is the method describing the functionality. COM is the short for command, and LDF is load flow, the short name for load flow. For that reason, when I say COM LDF, that means an object representing the power system analysis functionality. And every time that you find the letter COM, that represents a method, is an object that is able to be executed and produce results, okay? Perfect. Then here we have the advanced features. Oh, Jesus, advanced features, they are amazing. There are many of them inside the Excellent Power Factory. My favorites are, for instance, here, the stability analysis functionality using RMS and AMT simulations. AMT is the short for electromagnetic transients. However, here you can see that Power Factory have the possibility of running contingencies, quasi-dynamic simulation, network reduction, protection, R-flash, cable analysis, and so on. To be honest, I will need probably 2 or 3 weeks just to go in basic details of all those functionalities, and we don't have that time here. And in this next slide, you can see the different icons, okay? Something that is quite interesting is that inside Power Factory, you can recognize the functionalities based on the icons that we will find at the toolbox, okay? I will show you during the practical sessions, but you can realize that the command load flow is probably one of the most used functionalities. And the icon is quite interesting because you can see here S for the total apparent power, P for the active power in watts, Q for the reactive power in volt amps reactive, okay? As you can see, the icon is basically a reflection about how the power flow is defined in terms of the components, active power and reactive power, okay? Beautiful, perfect. Well, we are almost closing this presentation at this moment, but as you can see over here, Power Factory is capable to running almost every single power system analyzed, okay? I must be honest, I didn't find any functionality in Power Factory, any power system analysis that cannot be done directly or indirectly using the Excellent Power Factory. That is one of the reasons that I highly suggest that you learn about this software and use this software. By the way, many of my former students that they get serious skills using the software, today they have very important jobs in a very amazing companies and earning a lot of money because using this software is quite useful in many utilities around the world, okay? Well, finally, closing. I will close this session before we start the practical one, but what I want to introduce here, what I want to create the message is there is a lot to learn about the Excellent Power Factory. And here, in this very short time that I have with all of you, I don't have the possibility of giving you A, B, C, and D, and E, and F, and all the steps that you need to do for everything. What my plan over here is I will give you some basic skills, but after that, there is plenty things to learn, and that is where independent learning starts to be very important. For that reason, again, I highly suggest that you take your spare time or the time that you dedicate to grow your learning and understanding about power systems and go to the different sources of information that I can share with you. I highly suggest, from the practical point of view, that you go into my GitHub. Inside the GitHub, you will find a section that is called My Dixieland Power Factory. And inside that section, you can find very specific examples that you can download and you can run in your Dixieland Power Factory software. Also, again, I highly suggest that you go to my YouTube channel. Those numbers in that very specific playlist is very old. As you can see inside my YouTube channel, there is a section called My Dixieland Power Factory. Inside that section called My Dixieland Power Factory, you will find videos about basic stuff, middle stuff, and very, very deep and complex stuff, okay? There are some videos in English, there are some videos in Spanish. Don't complain about Spanish. You can use English subtitles if you need it, okay? However, to learn how to use the software, you don't need to understand the proper language over here. And I say this slide is a bit old because you can see over there only 50 videos. I think right now the number is above 80 videos, okay? And the other place that I highly suggest for getting information, to get information, is that you go to ResearchGate. And also this slide is very old, but if you go to my ResearchGate, you can see over there a project that is called My Documents of Dixieland Power Factory. In that section, you will find several of the slides and also some papers that we publish using the software, okay? You can download for free. ResearchGate is a social media for academics, and researchers and scientists. And ResearchGate, a social media, is a very different to other social medias. In Instagram, Facebook, and so on, people just show pictures or videos or whatever. In ResearchGate, what we try to share is basically information, knowledge. For that reason, I highly suggest that you go over there and please download the files, okay? Finally, I would like to suggest that also you can go to two very interesting places, okay? One of them is the YouTube channel of Dixieland Power Factory. Dixieland Power Factory has a YouTube channel, and over there you can see very good videos, official videos. Also, if you are looking for information, Dixieland Power Factory has what they call frequent asked questions. I mean, there are many people asking questions, and they create this very specific section that you can go over there and find answers for so many questions, okay? For that reason, before you start to send emails to me or somebody else, please try to be independent, try to be creative, try to find one way to innovate in your life, and try to find solutions. And these frequently asked questions is a very good resource. Here in my personal website, you will find another kind of resources, some trainings in English, some training in Spanish. And also, I highly recommend this YouTube channel. This YouTube channel is a friend of mine that he is in DTU. DTU is in Denmark. And Mattia Marinelli, he has a very interesting YouTube channel where he is showing a lot of information regarding modeling and simulation of electric vehicles, renewable energy systems, and so on. For that reason, I highly suggest that you go over there and you have the opportunity to watch some of those videos, okay? Well, let me clean here my screen, and this is the end basically for the theoretical part of conversations about Dixieland Power Factory. In a few minutes, we will start the practical session, okay? And However, let me do the following. Give me a second. Don't move from there, okay?